I'm recording this in a season of very little sleep, also known as life with a newborn, and a nervous system under renovation, which feels like the perfect time to talk about entrepreneurial wellness. Not the aesthetic version, the real version, the version that includes busy seasons, burnout, gratitude practices, 4-day work weeks, mountain resets, movement, stillness, fashion as identity, food as medicine, and the idea that wellness looks different for everyone. While I'm on postpartum leave, we're revisiting some of the most powerful conversations that I've had about what it truly means to build a business and a life well. I hope you enjoy this highlight episode. Please let me know what you think. I'm Allison Dean. I've scaled companies, led global teams, and I'm a lifelong student of well-being. And yes, motherhood is part of that curriculum. After years partnering with visionary leaders, I know the future belongs to those who create with care. Welcome to the Dean's List. More than a podcast, this is a community of thoughtful founders, creative minds, and conscious consumers. If that's you, congratulations. You're already on the list. First, you'll hear from Lori Simpson of Hummingbird Rancho, where farm life doubles as a masterclass in rhythm. It turns out chickens and quiet mornings might be better business coaches than we think. What does wellness mean to you, Lori?
Wellness means being in a place of peace, like mind, body, spirit.
Okay. And what are your daily non-negotiables as it relates to maintaining your own wellness?
This one's going to sound kind of crazy, but one for sure, because it's the first thing that I try to do every day, is make my bed. Make my bed sets the tone. Another is to have a little tiny bit of quiet time for myself, whether that's my afternoon walkabout with the chickens or in the garden or whatever, or just quiet time, coffee, 30, whatever. Yeah. And then my last one is bodies are made to move.
Oh, yeah.
Your body is made to move. It's very hard working in front of a computer all day long.
Amen.
Because we forget to get up and move around.
Yes.
But when people are having pain, it's usually because they're not moving enough.
Yes.
So when I don't get enough movement, especially in the winter, it's
From farm rhythm to kitchen ritual, celebrity chef Anya McAteer is a renowned culinary leader and a longtime advocate for food as ritual. For Anya, wellness begins before the work in how you rise, how you nourish, and how you protect your own energy. You imbue wellness into the lives of so many people. I'm curious what wellness means to you, but also because of your very dynamic career and your schedule, how do you prioritize your own wellness and what does that mean to you?
Yeah. I could never jump out of bed and jump into the kitchen. I always have to take at least an hour. I meditate every morning, take my cup of tea, and I always do some form of exercise. These days I do 100 squats. And I love to hike. I love a nature hike. Yeah. So I'll always schedule in things that nourish me. I have acupuncture regularly. I start my day, with something that will alkalize my body, whether it's, warm water with some lemon or a nice green juice that I've made or, and I cook for myself. When I have a day off, I cook myself a beautiful breakfast in my garden. I take a nap every single day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Because when you're in the business of nourishing other people, if you're not nourished yourself, you have much less to give.
Yeah. Right. I totally agree with that. Yeah. You must be nourished to nourish others, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes nourishment isn't elaborate. It's shared and simple. Katie O'Connell is an entrepreneur and the co-curator of Society of the Spectacle, and she starts every day with coffee and quiet companionship, because sometimes the most stabilizing ritual isn't productivity, it's presence. Is there like a word that comes to mind for you that equates to wellness?
Calm, right? Because we could get very stressed out in this world and you can make a big pile of stress. I always try to have my gratitude and my sense of calm I'm older now. So I'm learning that I can power through basically anything. So when you have that confidence, you find that calm, I kind of depend on it to say, look, We got this.
Yeah.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Calm.
It's going to be okay.
Okay, so daily wellness non-negotiables for you. Resting, some exercise in there, eating well. Is there anything else, like if you don't start your day with, it's not like as great
for
of a
sure.
day?
I start my day every single day with the most delicious coffee in the world made by my husband.
Oh,
We started when we first started dating. We just sit together. We don't talk.
just sit.
We look at our phones. I read the paper. I do my puzzles. But we sit there. It's very strange, but we do it every day. Unless there's an appointment or something. But so being together, just existing in similar space.
Yeah. There is something to be said for that, because there's like an energy transfer still that's happening. You know, when you have someone that you love that you can start your day with, I think that's a beautiful thing, right? It attributes to, I think, that reinforcement of calm, because it's like that reassuring love that you have right as your day starts, right?
Right there.
Yeah. Right there. I think that's beautiful.
Yes.
Wellness doesn't just live in quiet mornings. It shows up in how we inhabit the world. Lynn Rachel Rose is a designer and founder whose work lives at the intersection of craft and self-expression. Her perspective expands wellness beyond habits into identity, adornment, and the quiet power of what we choose to wear. Can you share how you're navigating some of these challenges, especially when it comes to balancing the requests that you get from clients to your own, personal well-being?
The energy that I put out is the energy that I get back. So one thing I like to do is make everything fun and joyful. And I want to bring people along with me. I don't want it. So this is not about me. This is about us and a community and supporting one another. It's not that I want to support jewelry shopping addictions, but just making things fun, making things creative, reminding people that they can go into their wardrobe or jewelry stash and use something they never used before, or bring an heirloom piece in, like a vintage brooch with one of my new designs or one of my classic designs. It's really, really important to have fun. Learning to say no is another thing that I have learned, and it's still a challenge. I love to make others happy. If somebody, especially someone who owns one of my pieces or someone who's just discovered me, and maybe they've been following me for months and they haven't purchased anything and they finally found the right moment to buy, it's very hard to say, I'm too busy right now. It's very nuanced, but I am trying to navigate that and learn how to say no with respect. Or maybe say, hey, right now I'm just too busy. Do you want to contact me in 1 month and let's chat then and see what happens? But setting those boundaries for me is a really good way to allow myself that time out to recover and reflect and just be outside of that world of making things for other people.
Yeah. And also probably ensuring that your non-negotiables are still happening along the way too, right? Getting outside,
Absolutely.
cleansing, digital detox, all those things. But I think the ability to say no, I think is critical, or at least say not right now. Because anybody that wants one of your pieces, Lynn, they're totally going to contact you in a month if they really want it. They're totally happy to do that. Next up, you'll hear from Tega Bentley, founder and maker, whose pieces carry both story and structure. In her world, what you put on your body shapes how you move through it. What's your outlook on fashion as wellness? Because I do feel, and there's been studies on this, so it's not like it's just out of left field, but curious your thoughts specifically on how wearing certain things can really shape your day.
My grandmother, my famous grandmother, she's very witchy. She will call herself a witch. She will say she's from a long line of witches.
Okay.
She will bless and or curse stones and mail them to you. This is real.
Okay.
But she will say that the objects that you put on, that you wear, whether it's jewelry, whether it's clothing or whatever, have a certain element of magic to them. That they are totems, that they are saying something, and they can influence how you feel about yourself, and they can influence the world around you.
Yes.
And whether or not that's the type of magic that gets you burned at the stake, I do think it is nevertheless true. There's this amazing book that I think is just being reprinted now called Women in Clothes by Sheila Heti. And the entire book each page is dedicated to an item of clothing that someone writes about. And it's like a little paragraph on who gave it to them or where they wore it or why it has significance or and a little photo of the piece itself. And it's a beautiful book for honoring fashion and its meaning to us and how sentimental these objects can become. I love fashion and I have always loved fashion, and I love the way that clothes can transform me in a setting, give me confidence. I think there is that certain Clark Kent to Superman aspect that fashion has.
Sure.
You take off your tie and you put on a cape and you are going to feel different and you are going to act different. And that's human psychology. I think that's just the way it is, right? You stand in your superhero pose and it does all kinds of good things to your brain. With quilt coats in particular, I love about them the same thing that I love about making commissioned blankets for people. They are so personal.
Right.
And whether or not I'm making them or I'm teaching people how to make them, the pride that goes into them, the care, the handcraft, like a lot of fashion at this point, it's at arm's length these days. It's made in a factory somewhere far away by someone we'll never meet. And it's one of 1,000. And there's no signature on the inside. You know what I mean? Whereas these, they take time and patience and care in every single stitch, in every choice that's made. And when I'm working with someone who wants a coat, really realistically, a quilt that goes on the bed, if you don't love it, if it's not in season, you're going to stick it in the closet and you're not going to worry about it again. If someone is commissioning a coat, they're really thinking about themselves. They're thinking about what's going to give them confidence. They're thinking about what's going to bring them joy. They're thinking about how to frame the face, what's going to look good on the collar or hood, what colors complement them, what's going to make them feel beautiful or silly. Or, a lot of the coats that I make for myself, I say this as though I make a bunch of coats. I have 3 coats that I've made for myself over the course of 6 years. I just want to really drive that home. My focus is on silly I Spy fabrics that my children can look at while I'm grocery shopping.
Oh my
so
God,
that we can play games. If we're in the airport and it's a long wait and they're in line, find me the car, find me the rabbit. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking through with what I want. But that's only one example of many ways that people approach fashion. When fashion is bespoke, it's transformed into this very special thing.
Right.
And it brings me a lot of joy, especially in a room, like in a workshop that I just had over the summer. We had 15 women all making coats for themselves, and they're all using the same basic pattern, but every single one looks unique when the day is done.
Right.
And every choice that they've made, from the color of the fabric to the content of the fabric to the color of the thread, the stitch length, the snaps, the whole thing.
Right.
It's a vulnerable thing because you're making art and then you're choosing to put that art on display for the world to see. I've worked with enough artists to know that can be a nerve-wracking experience, but also a very rewarding one.
Now you'll hear from Bianca Kudikatu, founder of Namai Studio, navigating the intersection of art and commerce. Her perspective reminds us that wellness isn't separate from our work, it's woven into it. For people like me who equate fashion and wellness together, because it really does, I think, make me feel good, when I have something on that brings me joy, if you will, like the condo style, right? I'm just curious, how that resonates for you, right? Like people like me who really use fashion as a way to feel good.
It's definitely a founding principle behind what I do. And it definitely goes back to that first market that I did when I saw people's responses. And people gave me so much feedback, and they still do, about their relationships with their individual one-of-a-kind jackets. But I love doing in-person events because I watch people's process of choosing their jacket. And one experience really stood out last fall when I did Field and Supply. And I had a customer who spent probably an hour and a half circling between 3 jackets that she couldn't decide which one she wanted. And her whole thing was like, this is the one that I know is me and that I'll wear and it goes with everything. But this is the one that's the person I want to be and who I want to be in the future. And I love that she ended up going with that jacket because I think that there's so many elements to self-expression because we're expressing who we are on the inside. When we're on a Zoom call or in the corporate world, we want people to know, like, I love art. I love, art is in unique things. And that's something about me that's important. But there's also this idea that there's someone we want to inhabit that we maybe don't 100% feel. I always think, like, when I go to an art museum or a gallery, I want to look cool and artsy. It's cliche, but that's honestly how I feel. Mm-hmm. And I adore myself to match the way I want to feel and the person that I want to be.
Yeah.
But with self-care, I think it takes that to another step in a way that if you're like, I want to feel comforted, I'm going to wear a more structured jacket that makes me feel strong, or I want to feel soft and vulnerable, I'll wear a softer, unstructured jacket.
You just helped me, make myself feel better about also adding more. So if I was the shopper next to that person that was deciding between the three, I'd be like, you should buy all of them. Next is Babs Peach, designer and shop owner of Patrier in Asbury Park, who moves between public-facing sparkle and fiercely protected solitude. Sometimes the healthiest boundary is knowing when to close the shop, literally and figuratively. Based on the things that you do for your own wellness, how do you think those things play into navigating challenges or obstacles that you might face in running your business? Like, basically, if you're well rested, you can conquer anything. Is that the idea? Like, as long as that,
as basic as that is exactly the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, that is exactly the idea. And then also the balance of my personal life to my professional life, because part of my professional life is kind of like public. I'm public facing,
Yeah.
If I'm in the shop, I see many people throughout the day. So balancing that out with my own personal life, which I'm more private, spending time alone to balance out. Like, I like both. I like to kind of like function on the extremes when it comes to that. So I love to be around people and have conversations and learn. And I love live music and to go to concerts and dance. I love that. And I really have to balance that out with solo time, just with my boyfriend and also simply just alone. And I enjoy that time. I really look forward to my time alone. That's another absolute non-negotiable in my life. It's one of the things that in recent years I've structured my life around, is making sure that I can have that really cherished, valuable, meaningful solo time.
Of course, not every business runs on boutique hours and curated calm. Now you'll hear from Sam and Eric, the founders of Earth Beverage, building a company that runs on both fermentation and fortitude. Their take on wellness lives somewhere between stillness and sweat and shifts with the season. Okay, so this is something I ask everyone. I want to know, what does wellness mean to you both?
I think that wellness is about balance, because I think there are a variety of different wellnesses. Because I think that if you are physically well, but you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually unwell, you're not well. So it's about balance. But I think it kind of starts here and then moves to the physical body. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Think about wellness.
I think it's feeling good in your body, obviously, right? But for me, I have to move my body to be well. Being physically active, if I don't do it, then I won't be well up here. As long as I'm moving my body becomes well, and then my mental becomes well. So I think just moving your body, being physically active, and then of course treating it well by what you put in it. Probably the best advocate for 80-20. 80% of the time I'm really well behaved and moving my body, and then 20% of the time I will party.
Like a fine. You need that balance, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Wellness can look so different for people. Like, he needs to move his body first and foremost. I need to be emotionally okay before I can move my body. Like, I'm good here and then I can do that. So it's not a one size fits all thing.
No, all the answers I get are always different. So for Eric, you maintain your own wellness with movement. That sounds like a core piece of it for you. So this is kind of maybe, Sam, for you, like a two-parter, is like, how do you maintain your wellness while managing the business? But also, do you have like daily non-negotiables? So maybe also Eric can answer this one, but are there things that if you don't start your day doing fill in the blank, you're not feeling as good, basically, or you're not feeling as well?
Yeah, I transversely to Eric need stillness to be okay. And so when I first wake up in the morning, before I even open my eyes, I kind of just like take stock of things and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I just need to be like, I'm here in my body. Great job. It's Tuesday. You made it, you know, like definitely like a little pep talk that goes on. It's funny that you say that though, because I've recently come across the theory of the floor and the ceiling. So you have your floor and that is the like bare minimum every day. What is the absolute minimum that you can do that you feel good about versus the feeling is like, this is the ideal day. I got up, I meditated, I ran, I went to the gym, I went to yoga, I did mindfulness, whatever, you know? So for me, I'm still trying to really figure out what my floor is, but I need to have my stillness. And I try to sit with at least 10 or 15 things of gratitude. If I'm killing it, I'll pull out a mala. And instead of doing mantras, I'll do 108 things that I'm grateful for. That really makes me feel buzzy and good in the morning.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Sometimes it's hard. And then you're like, you have 108 things that you're grateful for, ma'am, you know?
Yeah.
And I do some movement. I typically run about a mile in the morning. And then I have to drink at least a gallon of water a day or I feel like a turd.
Or a gallon of Switchel.
Or a gallon of Switchel. Yes. One in one arm, one in the other.
Right. Okay. What about you, Eric?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It's difficult. I'm really seasonal.
Okay.
And in the summertime, right now is our busiest time of year. My job in the business is a little bit different because, you know, Sam does a lot of stuff where she's on the computer and she's dealing with other people and emails and nobody really gets going until like 9:00 in the morning anyway, when it comes to that sort of thing. But if I don't get here and start doing what we're doing till 9, I'm here till 6 or 7 p.m. sometimes working with machines and the canning line and things like that. Like they don't always go right. If it breaks down, you can't just stop and be like, well, I guess we're going home. We'll try again tomorrow because we kind of have deadlines. Things need to get done. So you're kind of just in it until everything gets right. So, yeah, I mean, ideally, I'm up in the morning and I'm doing some sort of running or exercise. In the fall, when things slow down, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I'm going to the gym. I'm going on a 5 or 6 mile hike in the mornings, coming home, having coffee, eating breakfast, that sort of thing. But in the summer times, I just kind of like alarm goes off. I jump up. I come straight to work. It's not the best for me, but then I will just grind for like a week. And then I tell Sam, hey, I'm going to be gone for the next 4 days and I'll go out to the mountains and just go camping and hiking or something like that. So I still try to balance it, but it's hard. I think we all do wish that we were more structured with our routine.
And in some industries, the season doesn't ask how you're feeling. Caleb and Jess Robbins of Fairweather Fish work where the office view includes whales and weather patterns. Their version of wellness isn't polished. It's forged in salt air, seasonality, and shared grit. What does wellness mean to both of you?
I would say for me, with fishing, we can't really think about wellness in a super traditional sense because honestly, I mean, you are not really doing the things that well people do. You're not really sleeping or going out for walks in nature, not a lot of access to fresh produce. Right. But for us, we are living a life that we're really proud of and it's really in accordance with our values.
Yep.
For me, that's what does it. That's what makes me sleep good at night.
Okay. Living in alignment with your values is wellness.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I guess it's more of like I'm on a mental wellness. Like it makes me feel good to like like the stress and everything, I'm sure, you know. But then I feel like maybe some of it's counteracted by some of the beauty we experience all summer long.
Right.
And that's what's cool to have crew members is like I get jaded of seeing a whale because there's lots of whales. And then you get a fresh crew guy that's like yelling out the back deck, "Do you guys see what's out there?" And it's like you see this guy's excitement and you're like, oh yeah, like this is sweet.
It's incredible.
Like, he is jumping completely out of the water and waving at us. Like the whales are doing cool things. So like you're surrounded by that.
Yeah.
The peacefulness and the quietness of being out there on your own. Like
yes.
You are disconnected for like 6 months. And that's pretty freeing, and not like you're completely away from your phone. Like I'm not on the deck scrolling. There's no scrolling.
No.
It's like you're working. These days that you have where you're working at least 20 hours a day for days on end, and you're not sleeping very much, and it's intense, and you get through it, and like at the light at the end of the tunnel, when it's over, like the accomplishment you feel when it's finished, it's like, it's super rewarding. And then you have to explain this to the other crew. Like me and Jess know this. When we work together, we didn't have to talk about it, but like on the deck, I got to talk to these guys of like, I know we're in it. It's not going to be like this every day. This is really hard. Right. But like, wait till you look back and realize like what you just accomplished with your body.
Yeah.
Like it's cool to see what you can make your body do.
Next up, you'll hear from Sean Hoff, the founder of Moniker Partners, which is a global travel company. And he knows peak season turbulence all too well. What's his approach to wellness? Well, you got to build in those landing strips before burnout forces an emergency one. What does wellness mean to you, Sean?
Wellness is a big thing in our company. We work in an industry where it is very kind of boom and bust. It's a very seasonal business. We have times where things are going slow and quiet and it's great. And then we have times where like in the fall season is usually our busiest. It can get pretty crazy and our team faces a lot of burnout. And so as much as we wish we could spread these trips out throughout the year, it's just the way it is. And I'm sure there's tons of other industries where, it's seasonal and you just have to suck it up when it gets into the peak season. But we do spend a lot of time, and just like our attention is on like, how do we make sure that our team isn't feeling burnt out? We've introduced a lot of initiatives to promote work-life balance. So a few of them are, as we're fully remote, everybody can pick their own hours. If you're a morning person, go for it. We have people who work at 7 a.m. We have some people who start at 10 a.m. That is a big thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily appreciate, is like figuring out when you're most productive and letting people work through that time. In the summer, specifically when it slows down for us, we've introduced 4-day work weeks. And that has gone an amazing distance to just getting people to kind of just like relax and then actually take advantage of their summer. It's one of the most popular initiatives that we've introduced at the company. And I really encourage other companies, if you haven't tried a 4-day work week as a business owner, I completely understand the fears, the concerns, the objections of like, no, it's crazy. Everybody's not going to work. Nothing's going to get done. That's not what we've experienced. We actually realize that people, when they feel like they're being treated like adults and being told, you still have to get the same amount of work done, you're just going to have to figure it out in 4 days, they'll surprise you and they will get it done. And I can tell you that having Friday off when all your friends and family are working, and having that extra time to do errands during the day or spend time with your family or kids, it's amazing. And it does wonders for like mental health. We also do like pulse checks where we check in on people on a quarterly basis. It's a poll that we send out. It can be anonymous or you can put your name, but we ask questions like, how are you feeling? How's your mental wellness? How's your financial wellness? How is your work-life balance? Are you finding it a struggle to wrap up work in a given day? And that helps us understand kind of the pulse of like how people on the team are feeling, but it also gives us an opportunity to like start a dialogue. So if somebody does leave a comment or they do like have a major obvious red flag that it's like a 2 out of 10 on their work-life balance, and if they put their name, we're going to follow up with them. We're going to reach out to them and just say like, hey, that was concerning. Like, do you want to talk about it? What can we do? What are the steps that we can introduce? And we've done a whole bunch of other things, but I think for us, it's like understanding that as a company, like we have a pretty high demand job and there is a lot of high stress when we're on site and you're responsible for 200-300 people and their travel plans. It can really weigh down on you. So we also encourage people to take a lot of time off. So if they are in a destination, for example, if they've gone down to Mexico or Thailand with a group, once the group wraps up, we encourage them to extend, take 3 or 4 days to completely unwrap, go get a massage, like go hang out by the pool and get a drink with a little umbrella in it. And we've supported that by doing something we call the work from wherever subsidy. So every employee on our team has $2,000 per year to cover the cost of working from wherever. They can use it for airfare, accommodation, co-working space, whatever they want, to encourage people to say, you know what, I'm going to stay an extra week in Thailand and I'm just going to work from here 9 to 5 day, but it doesn't financially hit them. So it encourages them to take advantage of it.
But burnout isn't just personal, it's structural. Lee Reidelman, co-founder of Plant Paper, proves that even toilet paper can be a vehicle for integrity. For Lee, wellness shows up less in rituals and more in how a company communicates, earns trust, and operates behind the scenes. How have you thought about, a company where your team thrives? They're not just performing, but they're thriving. Are there certain things that you've done within the business, rituals, practices that help protect, internal wellness?
Well, our team is very, very, very small, minutely, disproportionately small relative to the size of the business. That has its many, many benefits, but certain challenges associated with it as well. The majority of the team is founders, who are sort of already linked in this very important way. We certainly do biannual meetings of the core team. They're not exactly retreats because at least to date, we've not gone like to some farm or camping or anything like that. We've, met up in our backyard in New York City. For us, a lot of our work is remote. A few people that are on the team, with the exception of Diva and myself, live separately in different cities. And I think that, we've been able to accomplish a lot that way, but there's also something extraordinarily special about spending time together in person. And so making a point of doing that really as often as you can. We need that. It's critical for us to continue doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But I think more than anything else, and I realize this is maybe a bit of a cop-out answer, but I think absolute transparency with our employees and with the people that we work with, even with our contractors. For us, transparency is how you communicate respect. If you don't have respect for somebody, you are willing to conceal things. You think you know better than they do. And if you are concealing things and think you know better than they do, then you're probably not respecting them in the way that you might think you do. That is probably the sort of core ethos of our business as a whole, because I also referred to transparency in relation to the customer, but also internally. Like, how can we be very, very upfront with each other about what we're feeling, what we're needing, what our strengths and weaknesses are, and we certainly have our weaknesses, and being able to own up to them, I think has been the glue that has held us together even through sort of crazy growth over the last couple of years.
Yeah, no, I think that that's a great answer, because I do think when employees or team members are in a trusting relationship, that does foster internal wellness, because it means that people are not in some weird fight or flight sort of internal dialogue in their brains. It does make for more ease. And sometimes even the language we use deserves a closer look. Ariel De Martinez is the founder of Subluna, a brand rooted in sovereignty and self-trust. She offers a perspective that gently questions whether the word wellness has become more marketing than meaning.
What does wellness mean to you today?
I can answer this two ways, because I feel like wellness, I've been seeing people refer to it as like big wellness lately. And I just feel like it's so kind of true. Like, I feel like we've never been able to access so much information at once as we are right now.
Right.
And I feel like it has turned into the wellness. What I see outside of myself is like neurotic and like obsessive and scared. And I feel like when I think about the word wellness, it almost makes me want to cringe, because it's just this weird like orthorexia, neuroses in a package, and like it's actually not well, it's actually very mentally ill. I feel like a lot of people who have changed to a non-toxic, wellness-focused lifestyle are actually more mentally unwell than they ever have been, because they're so scared and neurotic and obsessed.
Yeah.
And I've been there, moving to Dominican Republic when I was 5 months pregnant, into a place where there's Fabuloso cleaner, and I can smell when my neighbor is doing laundry and using way too much fabric softener, and knowing every restaurant I go to has canola oil and there's MSG, and I buy raw honey and it's mixed with propylene glycol. Like, that was hard for me. But what ended up happening is I ended up getting really sick, sicker than I'd been in a decade. Probably some sort of COVID, whatever. And I was laying there in so much pain, so sick, pregnant. And I was like, I did this to myself, because every single day for the past 3 months that I've been here, I have been telling myself that I am getting poisoned. Oh. Every time I eat, I'm like, I'm being poisoned by canola oil and MSG. Every time I walk outside, I'm being poisoned by fumes. Every time I hug someone, a friend, I'm being poisoned by their cologne. And I'm like, I have literally made myself sick because I'm walking through the world telling myself I'm getting poisoned. And so, of course, my body is now going to react this way, right? That was a huge shift for me. And I realized that there is nourishment in every single interaction. When I hug my friend who's wearing too much cologne, I'm not focusing on the cologne. I'm focusing on the interaction with my friend. When I go to my mother-in-law, who makes lunch for me every single day out of the wonderfulness of her heart, I'm not focusing on the MSG and canola oil that's in it. I'm focusing on the time I have to have a meal with my family that I didn't have to cook, that was made with love.
Yes.
And she knows exactly what I like. And she knows I don't like chicken legs. I want the chicken thigh. And so that's what she puts on my plate every time. I don't even have to tell her. Like there's so much nourishment in that. Yes. You know what I mean? When I'm on a walk in my neighborhood and someone's doing laundry, I'm getting movement. I'm getting fresh air. I'm getting all of these other things. I'm getting quality time with my kids on their bikes. I'm not stressing about whatever's in the air. So for me now, wellness means that I am free of all of that. And I find the wellness in myself and my perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere.
So if the word wellness feels diluted, what does the real thing look like? Chris and Christina of Local Culture for Men's are building bold, living foods in a very processed world. For them, wellness isn't curated, it's cultured, resilient, and unapologetically real. Their version of wellness doesn't whisper, it bubbles. What does wellness mean to you both?
It's just a way of life decisions, choices. Mm-hmm. We're a very, very privileged culture. We have a lot of opportunity for choices and just making certain choices. It's good to become friends with our vices or kind of like acquaintances. To know who they are, whether it's like alcohol or caffeine or sugar or social media or, screens. Mm-hmm. Have a relationship with them so that you can try your best to have like a healthy relationship with them. And I feel like that could be a path to wellness.
Wellness for me is health. It's vitality. When I think of wellness for myself, it's like a thriving version of myself. Food is medicine. And that's one of the passions that's kept me going in this whole thing. This whole food and beverage CPG industry is gross. It's broken. I'm going to say it like it is. It's very corrupt.
Very corrupt.
And it's very hard for those medicine makers that we are to survive. It's really easy for these big corporate entities to take over.
Right.
But like real food as medicine, that's what we're trying to do. So that's wellness. For me, that's wellness. Wellness is like our journey right now.
And beneath all of it, the grit, the boundaries, the systems, the skepticism, something quieter remains. Susan Drouillet is an author and a longtime guide in the world of energy and embodiment. For Susan, wellness isn't a rigid checklist. It's joy. It's practiced daily and spacious enough to hold real life. Speaking of self-care, what does wellness mean to you?
Joy.
Joy.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you're in joy, you can tolerate a whole bunch of garbage and still connect with wellness. I've been through many stages of what I would say the wellness journey. Mm-hmm. And long stretches where the practices that I might engage on a daily basis, I couldn't for whatever reason, right? Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean I have to give up my wellness.
Right.
That just means I'm giving up a diet, or maybe I can't work out because I'm injured, or I'm in a place where I can't do those things, right?
Yes.
Wellness is bigger than that. So joy, if you're in joy, that can hold a lot
of space. What are your daily wellness non-negotiables? So I know you mentioned the Qigong work that you still do, but
I would say the non-negotiable right now, again, it always shifts, but is gratitude. Again, to put myself in that frame of wellness, no matter what's going on. It's tricky because there's the importance of the discipline of having a practice.
Okay.
Whether that's working out at the gym or eating whole foods or drinking enough water or breath work or yoga or qigong or meditation. There are a million things, right? But we can also get rigid with those. They can become traps. They can become a tightening rather than a loosening. And so gratitude helps me be grateful for what is. And I also have the advantage of having wellness be my personal path for a long time. So it's just the way I live. I don't necessarily think about it. It's just how I operate. I mean, I'll tell you this, Allison, it's kind of funny. From years ago, probably 30 years ago, when I was in Arkansas, I was living out in the Ozarks and I was going on a cleansing diet. And I mentioned it to one of my neighbors. And he looked at me, he's like, "You're going on a cleansing diet? Like, what's up with that? Like, what's left?"
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just such a part of my life that I don't necessarily think about it. In fact, I often feel like I'm a lapsed everything. There's a lot more in my life now that 30 years ago I would have not permitted. So there's this relaxation around the wellness protocols and more of a sense of overall wellness, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You're leaning into the joy. If there's a thread running through all these conversations, it's this. Wellness isn't aesthetic. It's lived. It's in rhythm, in boundaries, in systems, in salt air, in fermentation, and sometimes simply in joy. In this season of my own recalibration, that feels like enough. Thank you for watching and or listening, and thank you for building well. I'm Allison Dean. Until next time.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Dean's List, where we explore the art of building well. If you enjoyed this conversation, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend who'd love it too. I appreciate it. If you prefer to listen on the go, you'll find the full audio version wherever you get your podcasts. This community is all about building businesses and lives that feel good, and we'd love to have you along for the journey. I'm Allison Dean. I'll see you in the next one.